Well, hello. You've survived another one. This is Russ Gibb jumping up and down. Not so much jumping, not so much up and down in an armchair in a rather comfortable room. I have a guest today. That's right, one of those guys that know everything. Andy Fradkin is his name. Andy was a student of mine years and years and years ago. I remember coming into my class, and he was in about the 7th grade, and they put him in the 9th grade. And he did a better video than any of my kids that were there for 3 years. So before long, he became the station manager and held that job for about 3 years, as I recall.
Mm-hmm.
But Andy is an amazing guy. He's an executive at Ford Motor Company and has a beautiful wife who taught at Fortson, I think, for a while.
Yeah, Fortson and Dearborn.
Oh, she taught at Dearborn, too?
She taught both.
Well, chemistry, right?
Yes, chemistry and biology.
And biology.
That's right.
Courses that take some brains.
A few brain cells.
When you take video, you don't need any brains. You just have to have a lot of guts. Pardon me, folks. Didn't mean to insult the guys that are taping this show, but...
it's Reality 101 was...
Well, it is Reality 101. Making videos is an incredible job.
Absolutely.
And you have to take some time to put it all together, particularly when you have somebody babbling on like I babble on.
Hey, you know, it's all part of the fun.
Now, Andy, I invited you on the show today to talk about one of your two sons. You have two boys. What age?
So they're 10 and 8 now.
10 and 8.
Yep.
Now, your 10-year-old is perfectly normal kid.
My 10-year-old is a regular, pain in the butt, normal kid,
good
full
student,
of love, good student, good, polite young man.
He seemed very bright when I met him. He seemed very intelligent. And,
he's a good kid. I love him.
He was matching his father and mother's intelligence.
He tries.
What's his name?
His name is Alex.
Alex.
Yep.
Well, hello, Alex. Your father's on TV. He's going to talk about your brother, I think, tonight.
Yep.
Your brother, your younger one, was named...
Zach.
Zach. Z-A-K?
He's Z-A-C-H. He's Zachary.
Oh, Zachary. Okay, yep. We got that one. Took me a while to catch on, but I caught on finally. Slow learner,
Hey, it's better to learn than to never.
Well, listen, but Zach has is carried and going through life with something called juvenile
arthritis.
Arthritis.
Absolutely.
He's only how old?
He's 8, and
he's got arthritis.
Absolutely.
Well, tell me about that. What is juvenile arthritis then?
So, juvenile arthritis is another autoimmune disease, and arthritis is really a large family of about 100 plus diseases.
How many?
So 100 and more.
Diseases?
Absolutely. So whether you count lupus, fibromyalgia, there's a lot of different forms of autoimmune diseases that are related to arthritis. And he's got juvenile idiopathic arthritis, or JIA, and the idiopathic is just, they don't know what caused it.
So they have no idea what caused that. It's not a disease that you catch.
It's not something you catch. The old wives' tale of if the baby touches the morning dew, then arthritis is part of... No, none of that. It's a mutation of a couple of different genes, so it's not even clear which one specifically. And so, unfortunately, a lot of kids go never being diagnosed.
Well, how did you get your boy diagnosed?
So the fortunate or unfortunate part was he was in a lot of pain. So he was 18 months.
Well, how did you know he was in pain at that age?
So he was basically, so we had taken him out to my wife's uncle's place at the lake, and he was running around, and he tripped and fell. And, kids do that all the time, right? He got up, he kind of, shook it off a little bit, and he was limping a little, and we said, he'll be all right. He's a tough little kid. And he was 18 months. So then it progressed very quickly. And he was still limping. Took him to the doctor. Doctor said, not sure what's going on here. Bring him back in a couple more days if he's still got a problem. No fractures, no bone breaks. So then it progressively got worse. And he couldn't walk. He started crawling again because he was in pain from his knees. And then the doctor took x-rays and blood tests and said, I think he may have arthritis.
So
And we said, he's 18 months. You know,
that's what I'm saying. 18 months
arthritis
with
is
arthritis.
for, you know, the elderly, or, you know, the football player who had that bad hit, you know, in college or whatever. It's not for 18-month-old kids. But sure enough, he is diagnosed. He went from crawling to only being able to drag himself around by his hands. He was in so much pain.
And you as a parent and your wife had to deal with that.
Oh, absolutely.
That took a lot of effort on your part, I would imagine.
Absolutely. And because it is such a specialty, and because so few kids actually get diagnosed in time, the waiting list for one of the 2 pediatric rheumatologists in the state was over 6 months.
So there's only 2 doctors that can handle it in the whole state of Michigan.
Basically.
Why is that?
That's, again, supply and demand. So there's a lot of rheumatologists, but not many pediatric rheumatologists. So we're
Pediatric
fortunate.
means baby.
Yep, little kids dealing with all that. And so we fortunately got him an appointment and got him started on medicine. And, you know, there was a whole slew of different medications he started with. He's still on a weekly injection we give him at home of a drug.
So how many medicines does he take a day?
It depends on the day. But he takes a handful, and then he takes certain drugs to counteract certain side effects from other drugs.
Oh my.
And basically the injection he gets every week is a form of chemotherapy. It's a drug that used to be used for chemo called methotrexate. So
How is he handling his schooling?
So thankfully we've gotten him past the pain and gotten him to a more stable point. So it doesn't really affect his schooling so much because he's not in constant pain like he was.
How old is he now?
He's 8, so he's been dealing with this for a long time.
How long?
Well, since he was 18 months. So
Since he was 18 months.
correct.
And how is mother and father handling it?
And we're, you know, these are the cards we were dealt, so we don't have a choice. And to top it all off, he's also on the autism spectrum. So it makes it a little harder he's nonverbal, so it's a little harder to communicate with him to really understand what's going on. Is he having a bad day?
You
Or is
say
he
he's
in pain?
nonverbal. Is that part of the juvenile?
That's more
Arthritis?
that's part of the autism.
So he's autism too.
Yes.
This has been a real problem for mom and dad then, I imagine.
So it's no easy road, that's for sure. And
Now, where can he go for help? Just you and your wife?
so thankfully, there's a lot of resources in the state, and certainly there's, even here in Dearborn, he goes to an autism spectrum classroom here through the Dearborn schools. And
The
have
schools have that here in Dearborn.
Absolutely.
Good
Over
for
at-
them.
Over at Nowlin Elementary. And he gets a lot of help there. He gets social workers, occupational therapists, speech therapists. Then we also have him in a private therapy a couple days a week as well. So where he's getting a lot of one-on-one attention there.
Well, what
So-
about the cost of this? This must be a terrific cost.
Well, thankfully, our Lieutenant Governor, Brian Calley, has actually a daughter who is on the spectrum as well. And he's been a big champion of autism.
Now, who is that?
Brian Calley, he's our Lieutenant Governor for
I
the
didn't
state.
even know his name.
Yeah, so he's been very involved in pushing insurance coverage for autism. Because
Is it covered?
now, as of a couple of years ago, there's a mandate in the state of Michigan that employers have to cover it. So previously, the autism therapy could be $150 a day in cash.
A day?
Absolutely.
Is there any help from the state or any other organization?
There is some supplemental insurance through the state that they do offer, but it doesn't cover autism, unfortunately. It does cover juvenile arthritis, but the costs of the arthritis, thankfully, are lower. But even just the first visit to his pediatric rheumatologist, that was over $400 just for the first visit.
$400. $400. That's a lot of money. A lot of folks couldn't afford that for their kids. Can they get any financial help anywhere?
So the state of Michigan provides a supplemental insurance program, as well as, of course, hopefully insurance that covers things like that. There's organizations out there that can help and provide assistance, whether that's getting resources together, connecting people, helping them through that shock of your child's been diagnosed with arthritis, or your child is on the autism spectrum, right? So all these different organizations are there to help people out and help them through that process.
Well, how do they do that? They need money. How do they get money if they're not supplied by the state?
Absolutely. So there's fundraising activities out there, and the Arthritis Foundation of Michigan actually, they have a walk and run in December called the Jingle Bell Run.
Do they actually take their kids there?
Absolutely. Kids are there, and not many kids are running the 10K, but kids are walking through the streets of Detroit, downtown. It's a lot of fun. It's very festive. People are wearing costumes and running as elves and Santa Claus.
But do you have to pay to get into that, or can you make a donation? If you...
So people will donate to join, and they get their T-shirt, and other companies will donate food and things like that. But then they fundraise to help the Arthritis Foundation. And so they send kids to camp that normally can't go to normal camps. They really do a lot of good in the community.
For helping young people. How many youngsters are afflicted with this disease?
So in the U.S., probably around 300,000 have been diagnosed.
You're kidding, 300,000, and I never even heard of it.
And that's only the kids that have been diagnosed. There are countless kids that never get diagnosed until it's too late, or when they're adults, or it's passed off as growing pains, or something like that, whereas it's really an immune disease that starts eating at your joints from the inside out.
When you're just a kid.
When you're a kid, when you're growing, it can lead to a lot of disfiguration and problems for later in life. And even it leads to a disease called uveitis, where arthritis will attack the corneas from the inside out of the victim. And basically it eats up their vision without
so they
any
lose their
outside
vision.
symptoms. Yeah.
Not only do they have the problem with their muscles and their joints, but they have their vision problems.
Exactly.
If people want to help this organization, and this is obviously a good organization to
Absolutely.
help, how can they do that?
So they can either come join my team in December 3rd downtown, or
Your team.
absolutely, I set up a team.
This is the Andy Fradkin team?
Absolutely. We call it Walking for Weege, because Weege is one of the pet names we have for Zach.
Okay.
But we're all out walking for Weege, and you can go to either my page itself to join my team, or you can make a contribution to my team right then and there, right online. It's
Well, how do you do that online? You have to have an address. Do you have an address?
Oh, of course we do. So www.
Well, give it slow now.
Yep. So we'll put it up on screen here, but www.jbr.org/Detroit/Andy.
Well, that's a lot.
It's a lot, but
So go over that again. Let's take that
We'll do it
carefully.
one more time. So it's www.jbr.
www.jbr.org organization
You got it. /Detroit
/Detroit
/Andy.
Andy, A-N-D-Y.
You got it.
And they could, today, if they're watching this show and they feel that they want to help this organization for these kind of kids.
Absolutely. You want to come join our team, you want to give $10, you want to give $100, you want to give $1,000, we'll take it all. We'll take the support of just walking with us to show that you want to help support kids like Zach.
Without giving any money, just giving your physical support.
Absolutely.
Do you have a picture of your kids?
Absolutely.
Could I see that?
I've got some digital pictures that we'll put up, but this is my little Zachy.
Oh, thank you. Zachy.
Yep, we've got all kinds of names for him.
How old was he when this picture was taken?
So this is last year.
Really? So he's 9 now or 8?
He's 8. So, and he's a sweet boy, full of hugs and love, and he's just, he doesn't know anything different. So he takes the world with gusto, and there's a lot to be learned from kids suffering from diseases like this, because they roll with it.
A little bit of humble pie.
Yep, absolutely. They don't know
Well,
the difference.
he's a good-looking kid. I've seen him over here. You brought him over one day, and he seemed quite normal to me.
He's a sweet little boy.
He was going on about my dog, Maxwell, who was barking. He's sleeping at our feet right now, Maxwell. He was diagnosed with arthritis when he was just a pup.
Absolutely.
I never knew that animals could get this disease, too.
So animals, people, and 65% of the population under 65 actually have some form of arthritis.
That's an amazing figure.
It's
arthritis. Well, what is arthritis, actually? What are we talking about?
So arthritis comes in two different forms, normally. You can get into many different taxonomies, but there's rheumatoid arthritis, and there's osteoarthritis.
Now, give me those names again. Rheumatoid.
Rheumatoid and osteo.
Osteo.
Osteo is what more people are familiar with. It's typically when the synovial fluid or otherwise where your bones are grating against each other for the most part. There's nothing there to cushion the blow, and that's very often something that people develop just from being active. Yes, from age, from sports, from a car accident, things like that. Now, rheumatoid arthritis is an immune system type of disease, and that's basically where your immune system goes attacking your joints.
So that's inherited.
Somewhere, maybe.
Oh,
So
they're not sure yet.
neither of us have rheumatoid arthritis, but Zach does. My parents don't have it. My wife's parents don't have it. So who knows? They still don't understand it. And that's one of the big problems out there. If there is a cure, boy, could that have a huge effect on people.
Now, this is a project that you have going that could help a lot of youngsters in Michigan.
Absolutely.
And how many do you estimate have this arthritis here in Michigan?
So in Michigan, I don't know exactly, but there are some kids in the Upper Peninsula where there's no pediatric rheumatologists. So they have to fly down here or travel down to Ann Arbor or Detroit to go see a pediatric rheumatologist.
Is Ann Arbor more or less the center of it in Michigan?
So there's two main practices, Ann Arbor and then down at Children's in Detroit.
Oh, the Children's Hospital.
Correct.
It's a fine hospital.
Absolutely.
The people that want to help, when you see youngsters like this with arthritis,
Yeah.
and you wonder, how blessed you are and I am having no arthritis as far as we know it.
Yes.
How can they help? If they want to make a donation, how can they do that? We're asking for money today. That's what we're doing. We want you to write down this address and give some money. The bottom part I have with that is writing an address to give money. I'd like to know where you guys are going to be the next time, where I maybe could come by and give some money.
So we'll be part of the Jingle Bell Run that I was talking about,
And that's in December.
and that's December 3rd, Saturday in Detroit.
In Detroit.
Absolutely.
Where does it meet? Where is it?
So it's at One Campus Martius, which
Where is that?
That's the big building that used to be called the CompuWare Building, right downtown at Campus Martius Park, and that's going to be the headquarters for the race. And from there, everybody's going to fan out and either do the 5K walk, 5K run, or 10K run around the city. And it's a great route for those runners out there that are looking for something fun and different. It goes.
So if I were to show up in my wheelchair, which I use these days because I don't have arthritis, but I've had problems with one of my legs.
Yep.
I could go down there and I could donate some money then and there.
Absolutely.
But if I want to do it over the net, over the the computer. How do I do that again?
So again, go to that same address at
What is that? Give it slowly.
www.jbr.org/Detroit/Andy. And that will go to, you'll see my picture, or actually Zaki's picture up there on the site.
And that'll put them in touch with you.
And you can just donate right there online.
Okay. Well, listen, you've been giving that address. And the problem I have is when I have to write down an address for a frying pan that doesn't stick, or a flashlight that you could put in
Underwater
or in ice.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
I buy all those things. I'm a sucker for it, but
Hey, it's marketing at its finest.
when there's a good cause up here, I never have the pencil ready. So I'm going to warn everybody, go get a pencil. You'll need a pencil and a piece of paper. Right now, I'm going to give you that address again. So you can help. Now, that's what you want to do, help. That's what America is famous for. We help one another. And this is obviously a great cause and a good cause. So get a pencil, and we'll give that address again. Now, Andy Fradkin, you seem to be an expert on this kind of stuff. What's the address?
So here we go. It's www.
www.jbr. Don't go too fast now.
Okay.
It's slow.
Yeah,
JBR.
You got it so far, Russ.
Thank you. JBR.
.org.
//
Detroit.
Detroit. Spell out Detroit.
DETROIT.
Detroit. You have to spell it all out. Okay.
Yep.
/
Andy.
Now we have that hopefully underneath us.
Hopefully it should be.
Andy.
That's right.
Or if Michael, the producer of the show, Michael, if he will put it up, we'll be in good thing.
Everyone should
will
be all
able to
set.
write it. Well, that ought to work and help out. Yeah. Because even $1 donation is more than you had when you started this show.
Absolutely. And we've been very thankful. We've had a lot of great family and friends and co-workers and everybody who've either joined in or donated. And my team itself over the past 5 years has probably raised, I don't know, $40,000, $50,000.
I understand that the exec at your place where you work, I don't know, can we mention it?
So back in 2013, Zach was named the official honoree of the race. And so he got to start the race, and his picture and story was out there. And WDIV did a great segment. Dr. Frank McGeorge covered arthritis and juvenile arthritis and profiled Zaki. And at the time, the CEO of Ford, Alan Mullally, who's a great hero of mine, actually donated to the cause as well to help out.
Well,
Zaki.
that was great. The head of the Ford Motor Company at the time.
Yep.
He just retired, didn't he? Or
he retired a couple of years ago from Ford, and he's still active out there and a true
You
gentleman.
have a new guy. What's the new guy's name?
Mark Fields.
Well, we'll have to talk to Mark and see if we can get Mark involved in this program.
He was basically Alan's right-hand man there, and now he's running the company.
Let's see if we can get going.
Absolutely.
Andy, I admire you and your wife for what you do for your kid and for other kids. It's not your help is not just solely for your boy.
We want to help others. So
what else can you ask for in this country? That's the American way, and congratulations.
Hey,
and I
thank
hope
you.
your son, is there a hope for a cure for this?
Who knows? We have no idea where this will end up. Some kids go into remission. Some kids it goes away for a little bit, then comes back years later. Some kids have it for the rest of their lives. We just don't know. Don't know enough.
Well, count me in on a Santa Claus rock. I'll try and make it with my wheelchair. Will that be all right?
Absolutely. You can have the beard going and everything.
Well, I can do that. Andy Fradkin, talking about juvenile arthritis. Never heard of it until Andy told me about it a couple years ago when his son was afflicted, and he and his wife have been trying to help out ever since. And good luck to your little son. He's a good-looking kid, and I wish him the best.
Thank you, Russ. And thanks for having me on the show 22 years later. What's the last time I was on your show?
22 years later? Yeah, you were just a kid the last time you were on.
Yeah,
now you're a father of 2 children.
Time flies.
Wife. And
Time flies.
Working here in Dearborn.
That's right.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, don't forget to give if you can, and we'll put this up on the net so it'll be all over the world. And while I'm thinking of that, there's a new book that just came out. It's called The Grandy Ballroom. It's by Leo Early. And it's an amazing book. It has so many great pictures that you may want to take a look at this book and buy it. It's on Amazon. You can get it. And there are great pictures. In fact, there's some pictures of John Sinclair, Russ Gibb when he was in the Civil Air Patrol or was in charge of it for a local high school. But there are lots of pictures of me on the broadcast day and a lot of fun going by. You may want to take a look at this book. It's called The Grandy Ballroom. You can get it at the Amazon on your computer. And there's all kind of things. It's the whole history of the Grandy Ballroom, when it's the early days, what it was when it was actually a ballroom, and then later on when I took over and made it the rock and roll mecca of the world, some people think. So you think about that. Now we'll be back with another show, and hopefully we'll get you thinking about rock and roll, because that's what we're all about. So until then, you take care. Those of you who took time to listen, I appreciate, but most of all, I appreciate you just being you. So, Russ Gibb, at random.